Okay, so good morning, welcome back to T-Upload TV. Thanks for joining the Average Golfer for golf at Chester. Shutters are down at the moment, so I'm keeping the miserable weather out. It's a Monday morning, typical UK, it's pouring down with rain. Anyway, interesting, really looking forward to this one. My mind over the last 6 months has been absolutely, in terms of golf, in terms of irons, it's been like, I just don't understand what's going on. Some of the clubs I've been hitting has really thrown up a lot of question marks as to why I play with these things, which are my Mizuno MP5s. I'm an 8 handicapper, like the look and feel of a blade, and maybe I'm getting to a stage where I'm not good enough for these clubs anymore, I don't know. Or could it be that I can get just as good a performance out of something like this, which is the latest model from Titleist, the AP1s that I just hit a few days ago. Now, there's been a few irons that have been released that, like I said, have really, G400 was probably the first one where I thought, what the heck is going on here? You know, I'm making life far too difficult in terms of trying to strike these pure irons. Give me some help, what's going on? I'm the average golfer after all. And like I said, week after week I came in, I'm using the F Max irons from Cobra, these AP1s, plenty of others that, G400, like I said, M2s. But the noticeable thing over the most recent weeks, or I suppose months, is the fact that they've been getting the Game Improvements iron built into a smaller and compact head. So no longer have you got the compromise of playing pretty ugly looking as they used to be, at least to my eye they were. Big cumbersome Game Improvements irons that, quite honestly, I just never felt like putting in the bag. But like I said, things are different now. So what I'm going to do is very much a head-to-head and see in terms of numbers what is actually going on. So I'm going to hit some balls with my MP5. I'm going to put it a straight head-to-head versus the MP1, and let's see what I'm doing with these MP5s in the bag, or is it time to change for a club that might help the average golfer a little bit more. Okay, so we'll start proceedings off with my existing club, the one I'm familiar with. I've got a KBS shaft in the AP1s. I haven't got a C-Taper 120 unfortunately, so it's not a perfect comparison. I haven't got that shaft for the Titleist clubs. But obviously my existing club, what I'm used to yardage wise, I know what I'm looking for out of this club. And like I said, I'm not one that's obsessed with spin number, but I know that I should be looking to get around the 5,000 with this club on average. But like I said, really interesting test. Let's hit some golf balls. That's a good start, 4 more to go, and see how this old boy fares up against the new technology of the AP1. Okay, so it's now on to this super game improvement model, this Titleist AP1, and really interested to see in what sort of difference this now makes in terms of, well, I suppose across the board, in terms of for those of you that are really interested in I suppose spin, carry, ball speeds. Let's have a look at the whole lot and see how it fares up. But what I'm expecting, it's stronger lofted, so I'm expecting it to go further. I'm expecting a compromising spin number, but I just want to see how big those numbers actually are. So here we go. It's visibly longer straight away. I don't need to go and check over there. That is a lot longer in terms of carry distance. I got that one fairly out the middle and it was a good strike, but straight away that you notice that there's a hot face that isn't quite there on the MP5s, unless you, like I said, really pure it out the middle. And the impressive thing about these AP1s is the feel that goes with it and the sound. More than impressed, more than impressed. Okay, so from a quick glance, spin number is the same as I'd expect from me, but what I'm going to try and do, and it will be tried, so let's see if we can get this one done or not. I'm going to hit my strike and my sort of slightly turned over shot. It's always going to result for me in a relatively poor spin number, which is often something that will be off-putting for you. I'm going to try and hit a bit of a fade, a bit of a cutty shot, and just see how much of a difference it makes to spin. That's a decent ball. Let's go and have a look, but we'll see in a second. I'm going to hit one more in that way. But like I said, don't take my numbers as being off-putting for spin, and don't blame the club. This will often be, like I said, very much in the hands of the individual. Let's hit one more, so we can do that again. Both decent swings. Let's see what those numbers are, and then we'll sit down and compare and see what they're like in comparison to the balls I hit with the MP5s. Okay, so that's all golf balls hit. I've got the data in front of me, and it's time. I've spent 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes, a little bit of analysis, because it doesn't take much, to be honest with you. It's a big glaring differences, and some that you might expect. I know that having hit these clubs over the last 6 months, these game improvement irons, you know my opinions, you know I've been kind of really surprised and taken aback, and personally considering why I'm using MP5s or players irons, I suppose, as you'd call them, when there is so much assistance, forgiveness, and just overall potentially better performance from what is always been termed as a game improvement iron. Now, like I say, for me the biggest difference in game improvement irons, and this AP1 is a typical example, is just how small and compact the club head has got. So we're now into about purely stripping down to performance, and if you like the club head behind the ball, as in the likes of the AP1, then you really are looking at numbers to decide which club is best for you. So let's get straight stuck into some numbers, and then we'll discuss my thoughts at the end. Let me glancing down a little bit because I've got my numbers in front of me, but let's throw up first of all the numbers up on screen now. This is for my current 7 iron. There we go, and to be fair, this is it was steady ball striking. I don't think I'd argue with the numbers, pretty much where I would have expected them to be. And like I said, good numbers, very consistent, club head speed remained consistent, ball speed did, launch angle did, so did the spin. So let's do those. 82 club head, 109 on average ball speed, launching 20.8, good spin number as you'd expect at 5,500, carry distance of 155 yards. Okay, so there's the main numbers, and like I said, take it from me, my 7 iron, that's what I'd pretty much expect to be getting out on the course. So we move then, let's throw these numbers up now for this AP1. Now what I want to concentrate on first of all is perhaps look at these first 4 balls, because that's very much a like for like, strike for strike as I would hit the ball. I've maybe tried to get a little bit clever with strikes 5 and 6, but hopefully it was trying to prove that there is spin within these clubs. But let's look at shots 1 to 4. Once again, club head speed, maybe 1 or 2 mile an hour faster on average on those first 4 shots, but we're looking again very, very similar club head, but again ball speed significantly increased. So again, same club head speed, but a hotter face, you would suggest, in terms of this 116 ball speed that's significantly affected by the 2 shots on the bottom. So more like the first 4, probably averaging 117. You've got that low spin from the first 4 shots, averaging out at around probably the 4,000 mark. Average carry distance in the first 4 shots touching around the 180 mark. So there's the numbers, obvious numbers that we look at on AP1. Now what I want to do is literally put them against each other and the glaring anomalies that I see that need some consideration. So first things first, like I said, it was great to see that the club head speed remained pretty similar. So 82 mile an hour was an average club head speed across both groups of shots. Ball speed, massively different. 109 from the MP5, 116 on average from the AP1. So straight away, that's a huge difference in terms of ball speed. Now here's the interesting one, and I've discussed this before as well. The loft on the AP1 is 30 degrees. The loft on the MP5 is the traditional 34 degrees. And this is something, like I said, I've highlighted throughout the year on these irons. Yes, they're stronger lofted, and there's been an argument to suggest, oh, you're playing a 6 iron, not a 7 iron, and so on and so forth. But the interesting factor for me has been, yes, you're highlighting stronger lofted clubs, but the launch angle has always been very similar to the traditional loft of a 7 iron, and it's bore out again here in numbers. The launch on the MP5 was 20.8 degrees, and the launch on the AP1 was 20.6 degrees. So the launch angle is almost identical, and yet we've got 4 degrees stronger in loft on the AP1, and that's where, for me, technology has massively changed things over this last year or so. Now then, the negative. People are a lot of focus on spin number. I've got to admit that 18 months ago, I never knew that I had what is considered to be poor spin numbers. I've always hit greens and held greens, but having looked at these figures, a lot of comments come in that spin numbers are too low on these things, and like I said, I'm still not convinced, but it is a marked difference and improvement in spin on the Forge club. 5,500 revs on the MP5, and if I take the fades out the equation, the last 2 shots, which did increase it slightly on the AP1, then the average spin number was around the 4,000 mark on the AP1. So a big difference there. So if you're really tight on your numbers, you're very accurate, you're dialed into your numbers in terms of where that ball's going to land, where you want it to stop, then maybe the spin number is not good enough for you and you've got to consider the better player irons. I'm not sure that I'm at that level, and I question how many people in terms of average golfers actually are. Now then, distance is not everything. We all know that. Accuracy is mega important, and probably the most important thing is to find the fairway, find the greens. But you've got to acknowledge yet again what a huge difference this is. We're not talking about a couple of yards here in terms of difference. We're talking 155 yards on average for my current 7 iron and 178 yards carry with an AP1. Now that blows my mind, because my mentality is this. I want to be hitting my approaches into greens, or whether it be into a par 3, I want the shortest club possibly in my hands. So if I can hit a pitching wedge into every green on a par 4, it's a pitching wedge I'm going to play. I don't want to be playing 4 irons in from wherever. I want to be playing the shortest iron I can possibly play. So to me, if I've got a 7 in iron, if I'm looking at 175 yards into a green and I can choose 7 iron, as opposed to currently looking at my 5 iron possibly, I would suggest is my 175, 180 yard. I will always go and choose the 7 iron if I had that choice to make. And that's where this big thing comes in for me, is that, like, yes, there is potential problems at the shorter end of the bag. So are you going to need to carry a few more wedges? Yes, you potentially are. But this problem that you have for me is a nice problem. And like I said, what I've tried to do today is try to clear up a few, basically provide some facts and figures that look at the huge glaring differences between a player's iron for somebody of my capabilities and a game improvement iron for someone of my capabilities. And like I said, it clearly shows to me that it's time to have a rethink in the type of clubs that I use. And just an interesting one I'm going to finish with on the spin number for those people who are really into this. Check out the shots, and I'll highlight them now because I can't remember which numbers they were. 4,300 revs spin on the AP1, the ball stops within 8 yards. 5,500 spin with the MP5s, the ball stops within 5 yards. There's 3 yards difference in stop, and I'll tell you something now. I ain't that dialed in, I ain't that good to recognise when I can stop a ball within 3 yards and make that kind of difference. And that's the big thing with me about this spin number. You've got to be one heck of a good player, really dialed into your numbers for 1,000, 1,500 revs of spin to make such a difference to the club you choose. Anyway, I still don't know what clubs I'll end up with in the bag this year, but I've got to admit it's been a massive eye-opener. This video has for me personally. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and as ever, give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Give us your comments, because I know there'll be a lot of opinion on this one. I'm expecting a lot of feedback, and I will definitely, as you know, try and reply and get some interaction going. So yeah, comments down below, and as ever, thanks for watching. I'll see you very soon.